Prime Minister Carney is leading a rebalancing of Canada's global strategic engagement, based on the government's assessment that the post-war consensus, including the indispensable role of the United States, is changing rapidly, and that Canada's political and commercial interests are changing with it. In this presentation, we offer a strategic assessment for Canada's business leaders. The message is straightforward. Canada's business community has a central role to play in the Prime Minister's vision of an emerging middle power coalition to advance Canada's security and prosperity. We set out why this matters now, where the opportunities lie, and what Canada's business community should do next. This presentation has been prepared by members of the expert group on Canada-US relations. The members include former senior government officials, trade experts, and business leaders. One note before we begin: the views are the author's own in their personal capacity. They do not represent any organization the authors belong to. Our central finding is this: coalitions between countries hold only when business gives them real substance. Political statements can be reversed overnight. Signed contracts cannot. When companies sign supply agreements, win bids, and build to shared standards, walking away becomes costly for everyone. That is what makes a coalition durable. Timing is decisive. Roughly 3/4 of our exports go to the United States, and that access is no longer assured. Ottawa is moving quickly and looking for business partners. Companies that engage now gain on two fronts. They help shape the instruments being negotiated, the trade agreements, standards, and procurement frameworks that will govern these markets. And they move first into the markets those agreements open, winning the customers, supply contracts, and partnerships that go to early entrants. Both the commercial position and the terms they help set will carry over for the next decade. To be clear, this is not about subsidizing foreign policy. Across 5 priority areas: trade rules, critical minerals, energy, defense, and technology standards, it is simply the diversification Canadian business needs in any case. For 70 years, the United States market was a strength. Since 2025, it has become our biggest risk. Tariffs have hit steel, aluminum, autos, softwood lumber, and copper and other sectors, one after another. U.S. policy can change with little warning. The answer is not to walk away from the U.S. market. It is to hedge it, the way any company hedges a concentrated risk. If Canada has real alternatives, defense contracts in Europe, and new customers in India, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Australia, New Zealand, and elsewhere, we negotiate with Washington from a stronger position. The tools to do this already exist. Some will ask, why not simply focus on the United States? Our answer comes in 4 parts. First, the assumptions behind that strategy no longer hold. Concentrating on the United States made sense when access was stable and rules-based. With recurring tariffs and a trade review beyond our control, our risk exposure has grown. Second, much of the groundwork for trade diversification is already in place. Canada's trade agreements with the European Union and across the Pacific, CETA and the CPTPP, have been in force for years and give firms preferential access to those markets. Canada is also eligible for Europe's new defense procurement program, SAFE, and critical minerals frameworks are taking shape. Governments have already borne the cost of negotiating these instruments. For CETA and the CPTPP in particular, the gap is take-up rather than access. Firms underuse the preferences they already hold. The return on acting is therefore high, and the additional effort warranted. Third, diversification strengthens Canada's leverage with Washington. Fourth, this is not anti-American. The United States will remain our most important partner. We are adding new partners, not replacing an old one. Diversification is not a retreat from America. It is an America Plus strategy. As Canada opens new markets across Europe and the Indo-Pacific, a business base in Canada can reach the world, not only the United States. American companies operating here also hold the same access as any Canadian firm and can serve markets where the United States has no trade agreement. American investment already runs deep. US-owned firms paid roughly $86 billion to Canadian workers in 2022, and foreign companies employ about 1 in 8 Canadians. This agenda broadens the reach of an American presence in Canada. This table ranks the opportunities by commercial value. Attention should concentrate on the highest priority domains. Hold a watching brief on the middle tier and set the lowest aside. Trade rules and critical minerals rank highest. Preferential access to major markets outside the United States is substantial, and dispute settlement provisions give exporters real protection. In critical minerals, the prize is long-term supply agreements with buyers in Japan, Korea, and Europe, along with a price premium for supply verified as non-Chinese. Defense industrial cooperation and technology standards follow closely. Canada holds preferential access to Europe's principal defense procurement fund, the only non-European country to do so, and early engagement on data and AI standards, with partners such as the EU and Japan, will shape market access for years to come. Climate and clean trade alignment is also promising, particularly for low-carbon steel and aluminum, where recognized standards can command a premium. The lowest tier treats the coalition as a counterweight to the United States, an independent security and monetary bloc, including a move away from the US dollar. This means decoupling from Washington rather than diversifying alongside it. It offers little commercial return, invites retaliation, and is best set aside. Consider the opportunity sector by sector. Mining and critical minerals are a key prize. The instruments exist to make Canadian projects bankable, provided permitting keeps pace. Defense, aerospace, and shipbuilding open up through Europe's rearmament. Firms that arrive late will find the consortia already formed. In energy, Europe and Asia want reliable supplies. Canadian uranium already fuels Europe's reactors, but the United States and Australia are moving quickly to secure contracts for LNG and oil. Steel and aluminum, hit hard by US tariffs, have the most to gain. Canadian aluminum is among the lowest carbon in the world. In agri-food, the Trans-Pacific Agreement offers real upside across the Indo-Pacific, with Japan, Australia, and others, and a hedge against Chinese pressure on canola. In technology and AI, the rules set now will shape markets for a decade, and Canada's research strength earns it a seat at the table. Canada's business associations have a central role to play. The government's approach allows different associations to lead on different files, each taking the issues where its members have the most at stake. The result is complementary advocacy rather than competition. On each issue, government hears a single, credible business voice, and the effort is stronger for it. There are 3 reasons the return on engaging Ottawa now is unusually high. First, the Prime Minister is the architect of this agenda, and it is advancing quickly. The European Defence Agreement moved from framework to signed instrument in under a year. Business input therefore lands on files that are genuinely in motion. Second, substantial public funding is committed: defense programs, project financing, and the critical minerals framework, and the detailed rules are being drafted now. Third, Prime Minister Carney is a former central banker and asset manager. He requires no primer on how markets work, so technically grounded, commercially focused advice is understood and acted upon quickly. In return, business offers binding commitments, market intelligence that governments lack, and the discipline to keep the agenda realistic. The result is rules written with Canadian interests embedded in them, market access on terms we helped set, and among the highest return investments business can make. Over the next 6 months, business should take the lead, not to wait for government, but to initiate a structured, business-led assessment of the opportunity. This assessment would have 3 stages. In the first 2 months, the convening stage, business associations survey their members to gauge genuine market interest and operating constraints, and commission an initial assessment that sets out the commercial case. In months 3 through 5, the assessment stage, individual companies carry out the standard groundwork for entering new markets: sizing demand, identifying target customers and partners, weighing entry strategies and investment cases, and testing supply chains, logistics, and financing. In the 6th month, the recommendation stage, business brings a focused agenda to Ottawa. Market access negotiated and monitored through standing joint committees with each partner government. dedicated trade commissioner, and export financing support in priority markets, and the permitting and infrastructure needed to move goods at scale. In short, the business community, through its various associations, should convene its members, rigorously assess the opportunities, and present the government with a clear, actionable plan. Diversification requires the right institutional machinery. It succeeds when business and government are bound together structurally through shared ownership, clear mandates, co-chaired flagship events, and published strategies, rather than mobilized only occasionally. Several of our peers already do this. Germany, Sweden, and Finland have built these structures. Japan, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand maintain strong trade agencies that operate in close partnership with the private sector. Canada already has many of the right pieces: a capable trade commissioner service, export financing through Export Development Canada, and bilateral and regional business councils such as Canada-ASEAN. What it lacks is the connective tissue that binds them into a single network. What we propose is a change in how business and government work together to advance Canada's national economic interests. It has three parts. First, establish Team Canada as a standing, chartered network with coordinators, performance targets, and a formal role for business in delivery, rather than a label applied to occasional trade missions. Second, create CEO-chaired business committees for each priority region: Europe, the Indo-Pacific, and beyond, each anchored by a biennial flagship conference. Third, standardize 3 layers of engagement with every priority partner: a joint economic and trade committee at the government level, a paired CEO forum on the business side, and sector-level working groups. The 6-month business-led assessment on the previous slide is where this build begins. In closing, Canadian business will support a middle power coalition, provided it remains focused on market diversification and risk reduction. 4 caveats warrant attention. First, U.S. concerns are manageable, but the initiative should be framed in terms of resilience and burden sharing, rather than as a balancing act against the United States. Second, commitments should be embedded in contracts and treaties that outlast any single political cycle. Third, Europe can be a difficult counterpart on agriculture, buy local instincts, and content rules. Fourth, the principal execution risk lies at home, in permitting, port capacity, and adequate investment. Over the next 12 months, Canadian businesses will determine whether the country enters this new world with binding contracts or mere communiques. That choice rests with Canada's CEOs and the private sector. Thank you for your attention.